And now, Tales from the Mission. Let me start. So, this was right before I got transferred into this area, okay? There was this investigator that we had, his name was Tito, and he was a part of the Paraguayan Mafia. If you're wondering, yes, Paraguay apparently does have a mafia. I had no idea at the time. So, this guy, he had done a lot of really bad things. Murder was on his list, absolutely. And, we were working with him for a while because we're like, okay, we're going to have to work through this at some point. But here's the deal. The way that Tito got involved with the missionaries, right before I got transferred into the area, he was at an incredibly low point in his life. He was completely depressed out of his mind. He was just like, I'm done. I've hit rock bottom. I'm not going anywhere else. So he snorted 2 lines of cocaine. He grabbed a gun. He loaded it, and he said a prayer. He said, all right. He said, God, please, if you're there, please stop this, and then he put the gun to his head and he pulled the trigger. So the gun didn't fire. So the trigger, he pulled the trigger, it misfired. And then as soon as it misfired, immediately after it didn't go off, the missionaries came to his door. And so he opened his door and they were like, hey, we want to talk to you about Jesus Christ. Do you have a minute? And he was like, yeah. Yeah. And he was a little dumbfounded. And the really cool thing, he actually gave me the bullet. And the bullet actually has a dent in the back. There's actually a dent where it actually should have gone off. I don't know what kind of gun it was. I'm not that big of a gun guy, but from my experience with guns is that if there's a dent back there, there should have been some kind of explosion, And so
absolutely,
it was really cool to see that. And did Tito end up getting baptized or anything like that? No, but did he learn that God cared about him? Absolutely. This guy who had done some of the worst things imaginable, God cared about him. And that was a really, really powerful moment for me on my mission that I think a lot of people could benefit from hearing.
Absolutely. That's crazy. So there's a dent. Did it not hit the pin in the bullet or I don't know. That's wild.
No idea.
Wow. What a story.
Yeah.
The story I had in mind does not compare.
Sorry, I didn't mean to set you up like that.
Yeah, just follow that. Holy cow. Yeah. I was in this apartment building and we like to play this game called Dodge the Landlord, because someone would call the maintenance guy or the landlord of the whole building.
Yeah.
And we once they do, we'd mark the level that they're at, and we had to roll the dice. We had to know all right, should we go up? Should we go down? Which way is the landlord going to come up? Right. So at that point, we would start sporadically choosing levels to go to. Right. So he'd have to check every single floor. Then we'd wait in the hallway until he's checked one, and then we'll go back into that one. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little bit of spiritual hide and seek. So in efforts to avoid this landlord, we went to a level that we wouldn't normally have had time to reach that day. And we went and knocked on this door. And when we knocked on the door, the woman opened it, but she was too busy sobbing to talk to us. And she was on the phone with somebody, and then she'd realized that she had just been called and notified that her son had passed away. As she was right before she opened the door, she had answered the phone. Someone had told her that her son has passed away, and she opened the door when that happened. Wow. So she's bursting into tears. We, of course, didn't have anything to say, but that we loved her and that we were trying to, we knelt down with her at that moment and prayed with her and gave her a hug and just tried to help her through that experience. I don't think she even knew what church we were from, to be honest. I don't think she caught that.
Yeah.
She was far too concerned about the tragic thing that just happened to her. But I think it was honestly more for my companion and I and me to experience than for her. It was great to be there for her in that time of comfort. And it shocked me to my core of how things happen, right?
The eternal timetable. Yeah.
The cosmic timing of it all just baffled me. Because I heard the phone ringing when we were walking down the hall. The walls were thin, right?
Yeah.
And I knocked on the door feeling like she wasn't even going to answer because I heard her answering the phone, right?
And this was Montreal, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I got you.
So it's she was actually, I believe she was Haitian. She was a
Yeah.
Haitian immigrant. But yeah, so it just shocked me that those series of events lined up where we're just goofing off trying to dodge a landlord and trying to knock as many doors as we could, all of a sudden to be thrust into a serious situation and to be mentally and spiritually prepared as a missionary to support that woman in her lowest moment.
Yeah.
That was something precious to me, and that's something to harken back to the beginning of our episode here. That's something that can happen anywhere, even in Indiana, right? Like that's something that I will never forget, and the location of that just doesn't matter.